fans line up at Hampden tonight for the second time in 3 months, it will be another welcome sign that whatever else the world throws at us, there will always be room for its simple pleasures, the trivial obsessions that contrive to mean nothing and yet everything. Certainly, I mean, I don't know about you, Pat, I still remember that powerful and poignant night here on the 1st of June when the World Cup was at stake between the two nations.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible, as I say, it is one of the most emotional, if not the most emotional game I've ever been to in my life. And I mean, listening to both anthems there, they were rousingly sung, but it wasn't quite like the ones before. And maybe that's not the worst thing in the world for Scotland. Maybe they could do with it just a normal game of football tonight. Unusual, by the way, the Ukrainians have turned us round. That doesn't often happen in international football.
Which is what they did, I think, in the game at Hampden, wasn't it? They played this. They were attacking towards the left in the second half. As now the two sets of players gather around the centre circle. Ukraine in their yellow to the left, Scotland in their navy shirts and white shorts to the right. As very, very soon we'll be having a minute's applause as a mark of respect to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. The applause just about drowned out some of the boos. The Queen, who visited Hampden Park in 1953 as part of her celebrations to mark her coronation. 70,000 that day were inside Hampden as part of her tour. Sir Kenny Dalglish was just the age of 2 then, but back in 1977, a silver jubilee, Glasgow 11 took on a Football League 11, a team that included Sir Kenny, to which the Queen responded to him, or was reported to have said, "You're doing very well, keep it up." Of course, a few months later, he left Celtic, ended up going to Liverpool. I think it's fair to say he did rather well.
I'm still upset with that. At the time, 440,000 still sticks all those years later.
We're about to get underway here at Hampden Park for what is a huge game for Scotland and Ukraine, because this performance here tonight, this result, will certainly shape the next week, bearing in mind that Scotland play Ireland on Saturday and then they travel to Krakow in Poland to take on Ukraine in the final game next Tuesday, a game incidentally you'll be able to hear on BBC Radio 5 Live. And the other thing to tell you straight away is that it is a back four for Scotland. McTominay is in midfield. It was a red herring, the UEFA team sheet.
Yeah, I don't think Paddy or I were gone for a second, to be honest, and it makes perfect sense. And you've got McTominay back in there along with McGregor, giving a good bit of cover and hopefully controlling the midfield with a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he would go with a back four, if I'm being honest. Lenny's comments and Steve Clark's very, very good at that.
Well, we have a look at my team sheet down here in front of you, Deno. I've written it already.
You had. Yeah, Mudryk has got pace away on the left-hand side. Mudryk still going. Ukraine threatening in these early stages. The shot then was blocked. It's going to come out towards that far side, and Dovbyk, as I'll run through the two teams for you, with Ukraine all in yellow. Tierney's clearance, it'll come back to Tierney, and he'll play it short and forward towards Christie. Sliding in was Karavayev. So Ukraine all in yellow, playing from left to right as we look. Have Trubin in goal, Karavayev, Bondar, Matvienko and Mikhailichenko as the left back. A midfield of Yarmolenko, Mihalianok, Stepanenko, Malinowski and Mudryk, and Dovbyk as the lone striker. Scotland with Craig Gordon in goal, a back four of Patterson, Hendry, McKenna and Tierney, a midfield of Armstrong, McTominay, McGinn, McGregor, Christie and Shea Adams. As this is Mudryk looking for the ball forward towards Dovbyk. Flagger stays down. Dovbyk enters the penalty area. Hendry's in front of him. Dovbyk looking for a sight of goal. First shot was blocked. Comes back to Dovbyk. Pulls it back. And then a shot that is fired in the end by Malinowski is a wayward one. Goal kick, 0-0, 2 minutes played.
Surely that's offside.
It is.
Surely he's a mile off.
No, he put his flag up now, and it's a good. But he has to do that. He has to leave it. But it was a long while he waited. We're going to see a replay here, and it's closer than you think. But it was offside.
But he waits for the second shot before he puts his flag up. Yeah, surely you do it when he touches the ball. Or did they have to wait for the attack to finish?
Yeah, they wait for the attack to finish. So he's done the right thing. And by the way, they're taking the offside from about 30 yards away from where it happened.
By the way, if you want to listen to England's run chase against India in the second Women's One-Day International at Canterbury, you can do so on 5 Sports Extra right now. There was set a big total, 334 to win, England 206 for 8 in the 37th over. That is on Sports Extra. 0-0 here in the Nations League. Tomorrow night we're in Brussels, the following night we're in Milan. Belgium-Wales to be followed by Italy against England, but this is Scotland against Ukraine, the two nations who sit at the top of League B1. Ukraine, who are unbeaten, as McGinn is forward. Get a little flick header there towards Shea Adams, and having to recover was Karavayev, tucked in the right back to get the ball away out for a throw, and taken quickly on the left-hand side. Tierney joins the attack. McTominay, forward ball, and then that was Bondar just stepping out of defence, and Dovbyk once again is the release up against McKenna, the Nottingham Forest defender, who shepherds the ball out of play for a Ukraine throw.
They think they've got us for pace at the back. They absolutely do, because the ball's played over the top twice to Dovbyk. He actually doesn't look quick, but when he gets his legs moving a bit, he is lightning, and we've already seen Mudryk already. He is rapid.
Yeah, it's a bit, McKenna does well. Recovery pace is good. Henry's pretty quick as well. Patterson, but it just shows you how quick they are. I think Patterson done really well to get back on Mudryk and get the challenge in, but it comes from a ball, a Scotland throw in, 16 yards from the byline. They throw it inside, a square pass, bit slack. All of a sudden Ukraine are on the counter attack.
Malinowski's forward ball cut back by Mudryk to Dovbyk. Couldn't really get hold of it. It was on his left foot and he was off balance, leaning very heavily on his right foot, and in the penalty area Scotland able to get the ball away. Malinowski back inside, trying to get there first with Mihalianok, gives it away. Tierney forward for Scotland, infield with a diagonal ball. Christie back towards Tierney, plenty of space over on the right hand side. Stuart Armstrong crying out for the ball. Tierney's low cross doesn't really have any elevation whatsoever, and it was cleared away by Stepanenko for Ukraine, who will just sit there in front of that back four. 0-0 it remains, 5 minutes played here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ukraine nowhere near at full strength. The Everton defender Mikolenko is carrying a bit of an injury, so he's not playing at left back. Zinchenko would have been out anyway with a calf injury, but he's also suspended. Zabani, the central defender, is suspended. Zinchenko, by the way, outstanding when they met here in June. Christie's low ball from the left. Bondar's partially cleared the ball away. One back by McGinn, left-hand side, plays it in towards the near post and gathered in by Trubin. And there's no Yaramchuk either, so they're missing a number of key personnel, Ukraine.
Yeah, they're pretty good though. I'm sure Fraddy's noticed this already. Christie's getting a bit of space, isn't he? On the far side there, and with McGinn playing it almost in the 10. That suits him, doesn't it? It's an exciting start from Nonto. Goes to that long ball again.
Mudryk away. Patterson is forced to retreat down towards the corner flag, far side the left, pulls it back. Cross comes in on the run from Malinowski, and then the shot in the end from Mihalianok was pulled wide, but the referee's whistle had already gone. James.
Yeah, it's that break again. One long ball. Mudryk has got pace to burn because Nathan Patterson is not slow. He gets there so early, so far ahead of him, and the ball's cut to the back post. Yarmolenko just has a little tug on Kieran Tierney, and it's a foul, but they're showing that threat in the counter-attack. The game in June, they controlled it, they knocked it about. Scotland couldn't really get close, they couldn't put enough pressure on. They're just going straight in behind, going for that counter-attack, and exposing, you know, the fullbacks. Pat, you were worried about the fullbacks not being able to attack. Both Tierney and Patterson are getting high and wide, but what that's doing is leaving a space for Ukraine to go and catch them on the counter.
Ball played out by Hendry, central defender for Scotland. Completely different defence as it was when they met on the 1st of June. Far side, Mikhailchenko, Matvienko, back to the goalkeeper, Anatoly Trubin, 21 years of age, plays for Donetsk. He's a tall, commanding presence at 6'7", in the goal away towards our left-hand side, as patiently Ukraine get it out towards that left-hand side. Mikhailchenko goes back to Matvienko. At walking pace, he's shuffling forward, and it's back towards Bondar, and Bondar doesn't take any chances because of the presence of Shea Adams, and then they play it back towards the goalkeeper and then back with Matvienko to bring the ball forward, out towards the left back. Mikhailchenko, the return ball, infield, held up by Dovbyk. Dovbyk just outside the centre circle, in the air, headed away by Tierney, the Scotland left back, and then tidied up by Pihalyanok. And Ukraine patiently build once more from defence. Mudryk, Stepanenko, Mikhailchenko's continued that run, and he's forward as well, the left back, midway through the Scotland half, inside to Yarmolenko, drifting into a central area. He of course scored when the two sides met in June in the first half, and in fact it wasn't too dissimilar. He started drifting in then from the right, if I recall, Pat.
Absolutely. What is interesting though, they make the pigs so big when they've got the ball. I mean, they hold on to it and they're really comfortable, but you find it really difficult to close them down, and they are finding a lot of space.
Yarmolenko, that central area. Karavayev has got room to run into on this near side, the right. Here is Karavayev, the right back. Pihalyanok forced to go back by the navy shirts of Scotland. Infield, hits it in low to the feet of Matvienko. Curling ball high out towards Mikhailchenko on that far side, the left, level with the penalty area. Stepanenko controls the ball. Seeing a lot of the ball at this stage, Ukraine, 0-0. Settled very, very quickly. 9 minutes played on BBC Radio 5 Live, also on BBC Sounds. Every outfield player within the Scotland half. Out towards Mikhailchenko. Fires over the cross from the left. Karavayev will keep it in play on this near side, the right, down by the corner flag. Karavayev running away from the corner flag. Back then to Bondar with his short brown hair. Scotland can't get hold of the ball.
They're controlled, aren't they? They're very controlled on the ball.
They are, and when they get in the wide areas, although they're not getting on the end of it, their crosses are dangerous. It's, you know, they are causing problems. Scotland have had a few opportunities from wide areas to put the ball in. It's not been great, or the wrong choice, but Ukraine are looking very good early on.
So unfortunate that they didn't actually reach the World Cup. Deservedly beat Scotland here. They were the better side when they played Wales. Wayne Hennessy, however, was inspired form for the Welsh. 9 saves, and it was Wales on an unforgettable wet afternoon in Cardiff that reached the World Cup finals. As here is Shea Adams. Shea Adams with a shot. Picked it up on the left-hand side, cut into the penalty area right-footed, straight at the goalkeeper. 0-0.
I think he was offside anyway, but he makes that run early, Shea Adams. He gets a bit of fortune by cutting inside. It's a tight one. It is a tight one, but when he cuts inside here, it's a poor attempt. When he gets onto his right foot, you're looking for him to maybe go towards the far post. He doesn't look confident when he's in that situation. He has to do better.
Here is Christie picking the ball up. Christie's shot on the run, left-footed, strikes the back of Bondar, the central defender. Comes out towards McGinn, tries to slide it in towards Stuart Armstrong, cleared away by Ukraine. Encouragement to Scotland.
A better move there. Certainly when we can get McGinn on the ball, Christie on the ball, we look much, much better. And the fans sounded a little bit worried there, but they're so keen to get behind this Scotland team, and everybody will be needed tonight because it's a very good technical team, this Ukrainian team, but has to be put under some pressure, and we have to find out how good that defence of theirs is.
Well, Stepanenko will do his best to try and prevent it testing that defence. There he was again to break up play. Dovbyk trying to get away around the back of Jack Hendry. He's got the ball here on that left-hand side. Back to Malinovsky. Forward ball to Yarmolenko. McGregor just plays a nice, calm ball out towards Nathan Patterson, who has been terrific for Everton this season. Started all 8 for Frank Lampard's side. In fact, he and Mykolenko at the weekend against West Ham had fine games, both the right back and left back at Goodison. Christie sent away, coming across with Bondar, didn't keep the ball in play. It'll be a Scotland throw. Tierney will take it, the left back for Scotland, to McGregor, the Celtic captain. Back to McKenna, short and square to Jack Hendry, and then out towards Patterson. And now it's Scotland's turn to be patient. 12 minutes played, 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live.
What's been nice though is, when Scotland start the restarts, they're doing it quick, aren't they? They're moving it quick. They know that if they allow the Ukrainian side to get back into their shape, they're going to be incredibly hard to break down. So each time we've been restarts, we're trying to move it quick and ask them a couple of questions in the last couple of minutes.
But they need to move the ball a bit quicker. At the minute they're knocking it around from left back, left centre back, right centre back to right back, into midfield, back to centre back, into centre back. Ukraine aren't going anywhere. That's better. They've just broken the lines with a pass. They need more of that.
Adams heads the ball onto the path of Christie, left hand side, the return ball just away from Shea Adams as he made that way towards the 6-yard box. But it was the early ball in from the left hand side. It was close.
It was much better. I just spoke about them knocking side to side, and then all of a sudden it's a ball that breaks the lines into McTominay and works its way to Ryan Christie. And initially I thought, just throw yourself at it when the ball's flashed across from Shea Adams. You've got to gamble. He doesn't. If he throws himself at it, get anything on it, then you never know. But it's much, much better from Scotland.
James McFadden and Pat Nevin are with us here at Hampden Park on what feels like a mild night, as Stuart Armstrong chipping the ball in, headed away by Bondar, and one of the commentary team, as the ball comes in from Patterson, took exception to my rather big coat. However, did you notice the rain just a few moments ago as it was sweeping in? It would have left a nice greasy surface for the players to attack, as Patterson looked like he was fouled there, but instead it'll go out for a throw.
You get warm rain in the south of Glasgow now. This is a really good moment for Scotland. They've really started lifting it a little bit more confidence in the ball. As Fadi said there, trying to break the lines, and don't be pedestrian the way you pass it. Pass it quickly through those lines when you get half a chance, when it opens up. 14
minutes played. McTominay, nice early release from McGinn, round the corner, played through the middle. Was unable for Patterson to try and get there, but the right back was pushed into the penalty area. But his presence has at least resulted in a Scottish corner, 0-0.
That was absolutely sensational. Sensational football from Scotland. Ball comes into John McGinn, he just flicks it round the corner to Armstrong, who sets up a McTominay, plays it into Patterson's path, maybe not expecting it to be played as early, and he can't quite catch his shot, but much, much better.
Corner kick then to Scotland, who are playing from right to left as we look on this near side, in front of the, I'd say, about 500 Ukrainian supporters in that corner away towards our left. The referee, who is Maurizio Mariani from Italy, is just having a word with some of the players who are jostling for position around the penalty spot area. Stuart Armstrong, right arm aloft. McKenna peels away, in it goes. Headed out by the Ukrainian defence, headed back by Christie. McGinn with a flick header, headed further back on by Hendry. Headed away by Mikhailichenko. As that light drizzle has fallen once again. McGinn with the cross from the left-hand side. It had gone out of play. It'll be a goal kick to Ukraine.
Just as we're watching this here, Scotland putting a little bit of pressure on. They've not really been browbeaten by that period of possession that Ukraine have had. But each time you look at it, there are massive spaces for Ukraine to break into. It's part of the game plan. There's no doubt they're trying to draw Scotland on a little bit just now. And there's a big call tonight for Hendry and McKenna, isn't it? They're not our first choice centre-backs as a pairing, but there's a lot been asked of them tonight.
Yeah, and I think that although they're not, we still see them as being young, and the worry would be not anticipating the danger and reacting to it. I think that's a problem, because when the ball's going forward, it's almost like they're waiting to see where it goes instead of getting themselves in a position where they can't be exposed, and they'll have to figure that out very, very quickly, because Ukraine will keep putting it in behind. And save yourself. I'm a big advocate of saving yourself some running, Pat. Just deepen off 10 yards, save yourself the sprint, and it gives you a better chance of reading that long ball.
Here is McKenna for Scotland, just over the halfway line. Tierney midway through the Ukrainian half. Arcs over his cross. Stuart Armstrong unmarked will pick it up right hand side of the penalty area. Back to Patterson, delivers the first time ball, and the header from McGinn. Just moving away from goal, couple of paces, directs it off target, drifts wide, goal kick, 0-0.
Loves it, doesn't he, John McGinn? When he plays for Scotland, he just wants to get there. And of course, now that they're playing a 4-2-3-1, he's like the 10 in the middle of that. He's the one you expect most to get up there and give a little bit of help to Shea Adams. And it's one of those ones, it's a tough chance, isn't it? But those are the ones that McGinn's getting on target before for Scotland.
Yeah, it is, and it's Scotland line up to go and press. It looks like a 4-4-2. McGinn right up beside Shea Adams. That free roll certainly helped McGinn.
Malinowski picks up the ball out towards Mudryk. Mudryk now carries it, edge of the area for Ukraine, all in yellow, enters the penalty area, goes on the outside, pulls it back, only cleared his way as far as Pikirianok, but they've lost it now towards McGinn. We've seen once again the threat that Mudryk will pose on that left-hand side. That was a poor challenge. Sliding right through the back of McGinn, and it's a yellow card.
That's ridiculous, that challenge. I mean, there's no ball to be won there. I mean, McGinn, we know how good McGinn is at getting himself in front of the ball. I mean, he is a master of it. So don't be stupid and dive in there. That's a silly yellow card to get. It's in his own box, there's no danger. It's in his own half there, there's no danger at all.
Yeah, I mean, McGinn does really well. He's always going to back in. That's his trademark move. Get that backside in and take the hit, but maybe not expecting a slide tackle. Good play from John McGinn.
Taras Stepanenko booked for that challenge on McGinn. He's not one of the players who's on a yellow card that would mean he would miss Armenia on Saturday. Yarmolenko, Matvienko and Mikolenko, who's not in the starting 11. Scotland have 4 players on yellow peril going into the Ireland game at the weekend. McGregor, McTominay, Adams and Christie. Here is McGinn, the captain of Scotland, to McTominay, plays it back towards McGregor. McGregor to Tierney. Tierney, diagonal ball. Stuart Armstrong was the intended target, headed away by Mikhailichenko. Out of play it goes for a throw. We've been playing for 19 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live. And in this crucial game at the top of Group B1 in the Nations League, it remains 0-0. McGregor along the ground finds Tierney. Christie on the overlap, not required. Tierney with a cross, too deep, but it will reach Stuart Armstrong nevertheless. Right hand side of the penalty area. Armstrong chips over the cross. Christie had made the run into the edge of the 6-yard box. The goalkeeper off his line. Header loops off target. Goal kick, 0-0.
That's a brilliant ball in from Stuart Armstrong, picking out the late run for Ryan Christie. The two centre-backs just split because they're drawn towards McGinn, and Shea Adams leaves a gap for Christie just to run into. He probably gets a bit too much on it. I think he's just trying to glance at the goalkeeper's coming out. He's nowhere near it, the goalkeeper. He just needs to get the slightest a touch, glance at towards goal. But it's a much better start, a much better attack from Scotland, certainly, picking the man out, and just unlucky to see that go over the bar.
Hendry is adjudged to have pulled down Dovbyk, and it'll be a free kick to Ukraine.
It's not a bad free kick to give away, you know, 1 against 1 there. You know, it's not going to be a yellow card aimed at you for that sort of free kick, but interesting that Christie getting in there, not dissimilar from McGinn, you know, coming in from that slightly deeper area. And it's one of the real joys of that sort of system when you've got, you know, 1 up front but 3 behind them. Each one of them can ghost in quite late, and Scotland are trying to make good use of that just now.
I think as you see it, Bill, look at it right now, Pat, it's a 4-4-2. John McGinn's playing as a second striker to Shea Adams. It's 4-4-2. Yes, he will have to drop in, and Stepanenko, is he there to try and affect him from the other side to make Stepanenko worry about where John McGinn is? But what I'm watching now is a 4-4-2.
It's really surprising that, Deno, because McGinn, apart from the fact that is brave in international football, but also McGinn's actually very good at arriving from a little bit deeper, so I think he'll play some of the time up there. But you're right, as you see it just now, it just looks like 2 strikers up there.
Interesting statistic regarding John McGinn as well. After not scoring or assisting in his first 14 games, he's been involved in 19 goals in 34 matches under Steve Clarke, 13 goals and 6 assists. And as James and Pat saying, alongside Shea Adams, trying to get Scotland a goal as McGregor wins the ball in midfield for Scotland, driving forward. Christie does a little turn, breaks to Stuart Armstrong, beaten out by the goalkeeper, and it comes back almost too quickly towards Christie. Couldn't take advantage. Out on the right hand side it goes, crosses low, gathered in by the goalkeeper.
I mean, there was a huge slice of fortune in the chance that presents itself to Stuart Armstrong. as Callum McGregor's driving. Ryan Christie's coming off that left hand side, he's looking to make a forward run, but Callum McGregor plays it early and it bounces into the path as Stuart Armstrong hits it first time coming off that right hand side with his left foot. Ryan Christie's falling in as you would expect, and it just fires back at him about hip height to his right foot. He just can't get enough on it. Huge slice of fortune, but Scotland are really starting to get a bit of control and starting to look more dangerous in the attack now.
Patterson is down at the moment after Ukraine had cleared the ball away. He was just caught, so he's getting some treatment as that drizzle is probably falling a little heavier now as it swirls around inside Hampden Park. But certainly, you talk about the wet surface. When Armstrong, that could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? Zipped off the surface.
Yeah, and the first chance there, he tries to play it to the far side of the goalkeeper. Had he gone near post, he probably had a real good chance at that point. I'm just watching Patterson's injury there. He has overextended his entire leg, so it's gone down his knee and the inside. So he's strained the inside of his knee, so that's a medial ligament possible problem he's got there. There's no great foul there. It's just a tangle of legs, and it has overextended slightly to the outside. So that's a slight worry for Patterson.
I hope it's nothing too serious for him, bearing in mind that when he went to Everton last year, had an ankle injury that required surgery.
Well, I mentioned that before, that last season he didn't get that many games for Everton, and Everton fans were thinking he'd just been left out and as a young player wasn't given chances. No, it wasn't the case.
He was just about to start, wasn't he? And they got injured. But just watching, he is pointing to the inside his knee, and you're right, Pat, that would suggest medial ligament, and I'll tell you after this counter-attack from Ukraine.
Because Ukraine were just trying to expose the gap that has been left by Patterson vacating the field as the right back, with Mudryk in his pace once again down that left-hand side. He's just trying to test it out, but he's sat back down again, and it doesn't look good. No, looking at the reaction of young Nathan Patterson.
No, I mean, I was going to say, when they tested his medial ligament, I've done it before. I've done quite a lot to my knee. I've had quite a few injuries. It's the worst one when they test it. It's the sorest, because when it goes, it goes. And all I would say is, it didn't look as if he was too uncomfortable when they done it. Does that mean it could maybe be the meniscus inside? He certainly twisted his knee, and hopefully he's going to be okay.
I've got serious doubts. I don't think he'll come back on again.
Not good news for Scotland, and not good news for Everton, as it'll be Aaron Hickey who's going to be coming on. They also had an option in it, Anthony Ralston, the Celtic right back, as Scotland get the ball away, but they're going to be making a change, and it's going to be Brentford's new signing from Bologna, who's going to be coming on to replace Nathan Patterson. Yarmolenko, meanwhile, still 0-0 on 5 Live, combines with Karavayev. Yarmolenko, left-footed, plays the ball back. Bondar. Matvienko. Malinowski takes over, real technician.
We could make a substitution here. We're 10 men, we're just trying to defend and get the ball out of play. It's a real worrying and concerning time, because Ukraine are not daft. They'll try and expose that little space over there.
This is played forward to Karavayev, inside to Yarmolenko. Went out of play. Now the change can be made. Karavayev couldn't keep the ball in play, and Aaron Hickey will be coming on. Made his competitive debut against Ukraine in June. But meanwhile, a stretcher has been called for Nathan Patterson over on the far side. So plenty of concern for the Everton and Scotland right back.
I've got great hope, Fadi. I don't think it'll be meniscus. I think he's done his medial, and it's just a little stretch there. It's one of those ones, it might well be 3 or 4 weeks. I suspect he might not be available for the next couple of games.
No, that, 3 or 4 weeks now with the World Cup turns into a couple of months potentially, which is not ideal. It was just when they tested it, Pat, it's the worst pain of any injury when they test a medial ligament. But the fact they've got a stretcher means they're very concerned about what it is, not to move it, not to risk him walking around the pitch on it and putting any weight through it. But hopefully, I hope you're right. I hope it is, just a little bit of a strain, and he can get back as soon as possible.
Just don't mention the ACL.
Well, we wish Nathan Patterson all the best. He's only made 9 appearances for Everton after that ankle injury that hampered his career last year, as meanwhile Ukraine are attacking and cleared away by Stuart Armstrong, but he's getting a lovely ovation as he's being carried on a stretcher behind the goal away towards our left-hand side. Everton, after the international break, are away to Southampton, home to Manchester United, and then away to Tottenham Hotspur. So we hope it's not serious from a Scottish point of view, and also from an Everton point of view for the young man who's had such a fine start to the campaign at Goodison Park. 27 minutes played on 5 Live. Scotland then back up to their full quota of 11 with Hickey at right back. Karavayev, who's the right back for Ukraine, is forced to go back towards Bondar. Really does bounce off his left foot midway through his own half, back out to Karavayev, and then fouled by Christie, and that will be a free kick to Ukraine.
Feels as if, well, there's a little bit of a drag back there. I don't think it was deliberate there by Christie. He's holding his neck there. The referee's not over excited about it. He's just giving a free kick. Tough one for Hickey. Come on, man, he's another one who's going to have to play against Mudryk. He's had enough time to go and have a look to see that Mudryk's quick. Mudryk started. He's got skill, so big call for him. But to be honest, the first time I saw Hickey play, it was over there on that far side playing for Hearts against Celtic. He was 16. And he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he is, but Mudryk's got a half-hour warm-up on him. But I know that is the worry. It's not that he can't handle it. He's shown that he's a fantastic player, but just coming in cold, he'll be hoping he doesn't see too much of the ball too soon.
Shea Adams finds McGinn, edge of the area, looking for the run of McTominay bursting through. Stuart Armstrong's to close down the clearance. Malinowski's header out towards Mudryk. Tight behind him there was Jack Hendry. He got a little shove in the back as well, as it'll be a Scotland throw over on that far side, the right. We've been playing for 29 minutes as Callum McGregor with the ball at his feet just outside the centre circle in the Ukraine half. It remains 0-0. Only now is Nathan Patterson on that stretcher being wheeled down the tunnel down beneath us here at Hampden Park on this wet, damp night in Glasgow. Tierney.
The Ukraine manager Petrikov ran up and shook hands with Nathan Patterson to make sure he was okay. That's incredible.
Well, he's got such fondness of the Scottish people from that game that goes all the way back to June. The fact that Scotland was so willing to postpone that World Cup playoff match that you might remember was initially scheduled for March, and then the reception that they received, not just from the Scottish officials and the players, but the supporters too. Everybody connected with Scotland around that game. I think there'll always be that special affinity between the two nations as a result, certainly in a footballing sense, as Mudryk runs straight at Hendry. And Mudryk sent tumbling. Hendry didn't seem to make much of a gesture to bring him down, but with running straight at the central defender and then taking the fall, he's got a free kick, 30 yards out central position.
Yeah, and it's a poor decision from Jack Hendry initially. He should go to the ball, he should go towards Mudryk. He doesn't, he backs off and allows them to gain 20 yards, and now they've got a free kick in an area where they could potentially be hitting a shot, or it's a dangerous area to be putting a cross in. He needs to step towards the ball. He's got Hickey covering round, but he's outside on his right hand side. He's got Scott McKenna covering his left hand side. He's the one that needs to step in and engage in Mudryk and not allow him to get into his stride.
By the way, he also tackled with his wrong foot.
Yeah.
Malinowski, who's somewhat of a set piece specialist. This is a good 30 yards out from goal. Malinowski, who plays his football for Atalanta in Italy, is eyeing it up. Gordon waits. Malinowski into the four-man wall. The cheers will tell you that it was thwarted as it remains 0-0. Back out to Bondar. Forward ball.
Ian, it's a bit of a shame our momentum's been affected by that change. The game was stopped for a wee while. We were just getting on top of it, and it's a negative effect in Scotland.
Pihalianok wins it in the midfield, runs into his own player Mudryk, back towards Malinowski. They keep it with the yellow shirts of Ukraine. Mudryk just Out towards the left, forward ball by Mikhailichenko. Mudryk's made the run ahead of Malinovsky. He looks for him down towards the byline, and Hendry leans into him to marshal the ball behind, showing his strength well. Out for a goal kick. 13 minutes to go, 0-0.
Do you know, Ian, there are certain things where ex-players look at footballers playing and you go, great, well done. There's a level above that, and it's just a nod, and Faddy's just given Mudryk the nod. He's good, isn't he?
He is good, but I'm nodding also Jack Hendry, reading the situation, not being rash, not flying into the tackle, just seeing it out, and that's something he's going to have to do.
Because he's special, that Mudryk's. Every time he gets the ball, he's got phenomenal pace, he's got great skills, he can keep the ball really close to him when he's running at pace as well. He's going to be a danger all night long.
He is, and every time, well, it's Hickey now, goes forward, he doesn't match him, he just sits in an area, that little almost cheating, you call it when you're playing. Just cheat a little bit and see where the fullback goes, see what he does, and he just picks up a clever little area where if they do break, he's got a chance to exploit it quick, and that's obviously a tactic. You've got Yarmolenko as well, does the same on the other side, although he doesn't carry the same pace as Mudryk, but he's an intelligent football player as well as technically very, very good. He's also very intelligent.
He's 21 years of age. He joined Shakhtar Donetsk from Dnipro in 2016. He scored, of course, against Celtic for Shakhtar in the Champions League, and he is one of the hottest prospects in European football, and he's been heavily linked with a move to Arsenal in January. Whether that materialises, I'm sure there is plenty of Premier League interest in Mykhailo Mudryk. You'll be hearing and maybe seeing a lot more of him in the years to come. Here he is once again. Tight behind him is Hickey, the Scotland substitute. Still 0-0 it remains. 12 minutes to go to half-time. Steve Clarke was looking at 4 points in these 2 games against Ukraine. He wants a return of 7 from the possible 9 that are at stake, with Ireland sandwiched in between. Here is Tierney. Christie back towards McKenna. Nottingham Forest, central defender, short black hair, bright orange boots. Back towards Hendry. Out towards that far side. Infield now, McTominay. Deep in the Scotland midfield. To Tierney. In front of the watching manager, Steve Clarke, with his hands behind his back, watching the game studiously. McGinn tries to tickle it around the line towards Tierney. Comes back towards McGregor. Tierney's stayed quite high on this left-hand side and goes infield now towards McTominay. Armstrong drops off as well. Hendry will now find the Southampton player, and then a square ball out towards Hickey, who was caught by a trailing leg of Mudryk, and it's a free kick to Scotland.
Just as it's building up, when Scotland are putting pressure on, it's great. John McGinn's up beside Che Adams, and they can go and they can press the goalkeeper, they can pivot and work that press on the centre back. But as the game's building up, he needs to come into the space and try and get the ball in that space in between midfield and defence of Ukraine to try and cause them problems, because he's just forcing them back into a back four. Yeah, that's great, but it's all straight. There's nobody coming off the line to take it, maybe getting a half turn, then play that penetrating pass, or just take a centre back out of position, allow Armstrong or Christie or McGregor or McTominay to go and break those lines from midfield. Just he needs to find a way of trying to understand when to come into those areas, when to stay high, and if we can do that, then I think Scotland can cause Ukraine a lot of problems.
India have won that second one-day international against England by 88 runs at Canterbury, and at half-time we'll be hearing from Gareth Bale as tomorrow night 5 Live Sport in Brussels, Belgium against Wales in the Nations League. Here is Tierney to Christie, short of the halfway line. McTominay, ball lost by Scotland. Now it's with Dovbyk, lays it off. Pihalianok out to Yarmolenko, now playing out in the UAE after leaving West Ham. 86 appearances and 13 goals for the 32-year-old, who's now just 1 appearance behind Shevchenko, with this being his 110th international cap. And he's closing in on Shevchenko's goals as well. He's just 3 behind Shevchenko. 0-0.
He's not got a lot of Kieran Tierney yet, though. And the thing about Yarmolenko, Faddy was talking there about the intelligence over the other side of the pitch. but Yarmolenko's got it as well, and if he sees any gaps developing, he will arrive in them. And I suppose every West Ham fan will tell you the same thing: don't let him on his left foot.
The thing as well, you've got, I mean, he done it brilliantly in the game here in June. He just kept gambling, he kept picking up the right position, but obviously Scotland have seen that, they've got a chance to do the analysis on it. Kieran Tierney's fully aware, and that would have been drilled into him to say, be sure you know where he is, don't come out wide and allow him inside to pick up those little spaces in between centre back and full back. So he'll be well aware, and obviously Kieran Tierney's top class operator as it is, so he'll be enjoying that challenge.
Here is Scott McKenna at the heart of the Scottish defence, running forward now, slides it forward. Shay Adams tried to lay it off into the path of Ryan Christie. Tierney actually was ahead of Ryan Christie on this near side, the Scotland left. Karavayev will take the throw back towards Bondar, and then all the way back to Trubin, the goalkeeper. Tries to switch it out towards the left-hand side. Mikhailchenko just sold Malinovsky a little short. Interception from McTominay, bounces up, reared up towards McGinn, and then tried to lob the goalkeeper on the edge of the area, but it was drifting away off target and out for a goal kick. 0-0. Pat.
6-7 inch goalkeeper. He's a tough one to chip there. I know what he's trying to do, and you know, he was slightly off balance when he tried to do it, but really good play by McTominay. If you go and win the ball high up the pitch, it gives you opportunities, and that's what Scotland are trying to do. And McGinn's trying to do it, Christie's trying to do it, and certainly McTominay on that occasion was able to do it, and led to a half chance.
Yeah, I mean, before the ball came into McGinn, you would say it was a chance until he took a touch.
Yarmolenko is released. Stepanenko in field. Dovbyk holds it up, back to Pihalianok, now to Malinovsky, out towards Mudryk, left corner of the penalty area. Mikhailchenko on the overlap, fires in the cross, saved by Gordon at his near post, and that will be a foul on McGinn by Stepanenko, who's on a yellow card.
Same thing again, and what he does is he just puts his body in the way there, takes the hit. Stepanenko, he's got to understand you can't do that. You've got to stand off it, and especially if you're on a yellow card. The referee had a little look, but he's got to be careful now. That was clever play by McGinn yet again.
I know that they're looking for a yellow card, but he's made 2 fouls. I mean, and it's on the edge of the Scotland penalty box. Yeah, I know John McGinn can break, but 2 fouls I don't think warrants a red card.
Pihalianok picks it up midway through the Ukrainian half. Still goalless on 5 Live. We've got about 6 minutes to go to half time. Also available, of course, through the BBC Sounds app, if you haven't yet downloaded that. As the ball played forward, just stepping out of defence was Hendry. McTominay to Adams, the return ball to McTominay, inside to McGinn, able to turn 8 yards forward of the centre circle to Christie. The yellow shirts came flooding back. Christie now with a cross towards Adams, off his chest, back to goal, able to turn towards Stuart Armstrong, his Southampton teammate. Now they work the ball out towards Hickey. Scotland are threatening just outside the penalty area. Cross comes in, downward header from Bondar, and eventually Mikhailchenko clears it away. If it would have just fallen a little bit better for Adams, but urged on by this near capacity crowd at Hampden Park, as it's still 0-0. McGinn out towards the right. Stuart Armstrong ships the ball forward. McGregor had made the run through from midfield, partially cleared, only as far as Stuart Armstrong running forward. Tierney provides a little bit of width. Here is the Arsenal player, back towards Stuart Armstrong, left corner of the box, goes down the side, left-hand side, blocked then by Karavayev, and Yarmolenko's helping out as Karavayev was hauled to the floor, and the referee will give a goal kick rather than a free kick. Goal kick to Ukraine, 0-0.
It's a bit of a shame there. Something happened there, and I understood why Christie went wide. But for just a moment there, you had Yarmolenko who was facing up to Kieran Tierney. And I know who I'm backing in that one, when it's an attack down the left-hand side. And it's a shame, he just killed the space just a little bit there. And I'm desperate to see Tierney getting forward, because his delivery is as good as anyone in the Scotland team when he gets there.
I'm more looking back to the Che Adams one. And then you said, if the touch it falls better for him, he must be thinking before that comes in, get a touch, get it down, get a shot away as quick as I can. He takes a poor touch, but even then I still think he can get a snapshot away, and he doesn't want to pull the trigger, he doesn't want to get that shot away, and then it's side to side and trying to break Ukraine down. That was a great opportunity for Che Adams to take a good touch and get a shot at goal.
If anything, after his touch, his body then seemed to turn away with his back to goal.
Do you think he's a natural lay-on player? his natural game is almost as a 10, off a big striker. He wants to hold it and lay in players and move. He's not a natural striker who wants to turn and shoot. That's not his game, and he's trying to adapt his game to be that. But what I think on his mind there, because it happens so quick, he's thinking, if I hold up, I've got 3 midfielders that's going to run onto it. There was just nobody there.
But he's in the box, Pat. He's in between penalty spot and 6-yard box. He's got to be thinking as that ball comes in, because at first I thought it was a bit weak and it wasn't getting there. It was actually perfect. He must be thinking, get my chest on it, get it down and get my shot away and take the goalkeeper by surprise.
A normal striker would, trust me. As you know,
Scotland have had the better chances in what has been a tight game. Mudryk's posed a threat, but here is McTominay for Scotland, and McTominay, edge of the area, rather than looking to shoot, passes the ball out very wide for Christie. The crowd are getting frustrated. Ball inside to Tierney, miscontrolled by Stuart Armstrong, running out of space. One bounce off his right foot, out for a goal kick. But you could hear from the crowd reaction, they're thinking, why doesn't McTominay have a dig at goal?
It's catching on, isn't it? Spoke about McGinn, the one who tries to lob it. Che Adams can get his shot away. Scott McTominay, the space opens up for him. He's about 20 yards out on his left foot, okay.
Nice.
But there's no one in front of him. Just shoot, just get your shot away. He's got time and space. Technically he can do that, and he overhits the pass to Ryan Christie. This game's crying out for someone to say, I'm going to be the one that's going to go and take a shot. I'm going to be the one that's going to go and take that chance. Because at the minute they're all kind of passing the buck, they're passing each other, letting someone else do it, almost trying to carve out that perfect opportunity. That was on a plate for McTominay to go and step on and have a shot there.
Well, he asked the question on Friday in the middle, I absolutely answered it. Left foot. If it was on his right, he'd have had a ping. There's no doubt about that. The one guy who is having a go and will turn and do it is John McGinn, isn't he? He will do it.
That's just natural.
Yeah, he will always turn and have a go at goal whenever there's half a chance.
Steve Clarke is making notes whilst Pat and James have been talking. The free kick up towards Adams. He tried to lay it off towards McGinn. Armstrong battling for the ball, slipped by McGinn. Adams just outside the penalty area, couldn't get there. Ukraine have cleared up towards Dovbyk, lays it back towards Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko, well, he's hit the ball long, looking for the run of Dovbyk, but Dovbyk's just dropped off McKenna to get the ball into his feet, and as a result it goes through towards Craig Gordon.
Done a good job, McKenna, there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Really good job.
He did it, and that's Dovbyk realised he wasn't going to win the race because McKenna read it early and comes to feet. But again, another chance round about the edge of the box. They're all looking for that. You take it. No, you have a shot. No, you try to be perfect. Try and do it a bit quicker. And I know it's difficult because it is a slick surface and the ball looks to be skidding all over. Players are losing their footing as well. But I just fear that the more that this happens, you've given Ukraine encouragement, because the goalkeeper's not really been tested, if he's been tested at all.
Here is Stepanenko for the all-yellow of Ukraine to Malinovsky. Mikhailichenko on the overlap. Instead he tries to squeeze it through towards Mudryk. James McFadden talks about players using their footing. Mudryk just slipped in the penalty area as Adams has used his strength well, and he's rolled his marker there. Oh, and then he's been taken out. Now, whether that's a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, it might just be a yellow card. Was there a covering defender? But that was just a blatant check. I think it was by Bondar. The referee is giving himself some thinking time, but Adams was away.
He was away, and there was an incredible force in the challenge as well. I don't know if they're waiting to see if it's used an elbow or how much force he's actually used on it. It was a heavy challenge.
He's got his yellow card in his hand.
So at the moment, back away.
Yeah, at the moment he thought it's a yellow card, but is there any attempt at the ball at all? To me, that is yellow bordering on orange, close to a red, and he just wiped him out, not attempting to get the ball. And there is an argument there's a covering man. There is an argument.
I don't know though. Che Adams is ahead of him. Initially I thought maybe he goes with the shoulder of the arm. He doesn't catch him in the face.
He's already shown the yellow card to Bondar, who's getting wiped down by a white towel as if he was a boxer in a ring. Well, it was that sort of a brutal challenge. There is VAR, which is Massimiliano Arati, but there were two covering defenders. However, is it the force of the challenge? So maybe you would be not looking at a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, because
it's also he's hitting it head high.
It was a hit.
Yeah. So I don't think you can give the red for a goal-scoring chance?
No.
I think he can. I think he can, because he takes his touch straight towards goal. He is ahead of the covering defenders. I know they're covering, which means all he needs to do is catch it, and that's a goal scoring opportunity. If the ball was going away from goal towards a corner flag, then it's not a goal scoring opportunity. But I think he takes his touch towards goal, and I don't know if the covering defenders are on line with him.
It's a near one to us, the 21.
Nah.
He's arguably going to come across and say it there. You wouldn't be surprised at a red. Full stop. You would not be surprised because he was wiped out and there was no attempt to the ball.
You're going for it on the contact, and I'm going for it on the last man. So as long as you get to the right decision,
I don't think he's going to stay with yellow. He's definitely going to stay with yellow.
And at the end of all that, Shea Adams a little bit groggy, a little bit worse for wear. He's back on his feet, and there's been no indication that VAR were even having a look at it. But it will be a free kick to Scotland. So it's a yellow card to Bondar, who is going to just walk down the touch line. And play is about to resume. We're into 2 minutes of added on time, a minimum.
By the way, I'm slightly changing my view. I think Faddy's right. He wasn't getting back, was he?
I don't think
no,
he's
he wasn't.
Back. I don't think Karavaev's the other side. I don't think he's covering. He's too busy worrying about John McGinn. And I think it's Matvienko that's trying to get back to him.
To be honest, I have no idea why VAR did. Maybe they did have a quick look, but certainly didn't come up on their screen saying that we're having a look.
So, Adams and Bondar are both off the field of play. We're in stoppage time in the first half, and it's 0-0. Good 30 yards out, central position, this free kick for Scotland. McGinn will leave it for Stuart Armstrong. Chips it in. McTominay tried to get there, and with an outstretched left foot couldn't get the necessary connection, and boos as Bondar is back on the field, and it remains 0-0 between Scotland and Ukraine.
It's a good way to end the half though, isn't it? You know, we're putting a little bit of pressure. Bondar now cannot make a tackle, can't take any chances. Stepanenko, basically your tackling midfielder who's supposed to stop everything, he can't do anything either, so it's a bit of a lift at the end of the half of Scotland.
And I was just waiting for McTominay to turn into Erling Haaland there when the ball came in. No such luck.
Ball played forward by Matvienko. Malinowski looking for Dovbyk, looked in an offside position, flag had stayed down, and it will go out of play for a goal kick. So we've played almost double the amount of minimum, 2 minutes at the end of the first half, which is still Scotland 0, Ukraine 0. And certainly a talking point, I think, for Kelly to have a word with the two of you at half time.
Can I suggest there's probably 30, 40, 50,000 people in here who agree completely with Faddy? And I'm with him as well now.
Gordon with the goal kick. Pihalianok hits it forward, and there is the half-time whistle. So Adams has had a shot saved. Armstrong's tested the goalkeeper as well. Ukraine in flashes have threatened down the left-hand side. Gordon on a couple of occasions has had to be alert, but certainly that challenge by Bondar, a little bit brutal on Adams, will be the talking point. He was shown a yellow card. 0-0 between Scotland and Ukraine at half-time. Kelly.
Thank you, Deno. It is a talking point, and there's plenty more to say about it. There is the opportunity for giving the red card for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Equally, in terms of the force of it, and you guys have had a better look at the replays than I have, that looks like it would be a red in rugby. It's so high up on the chest, it's almost at neck height.
It's definitely not a red card in wrestling, but everything else it probably is. I thought the force of the challenge, and you're taking them out high up as well. I mean, you're taking somebody out that high up. You know, it's dangerous. You know, it's head height. That's what we're trying to get out of the game. These sort of dangerous challenges at that sort of height. There's no real attempt at the ball as well. So it's violent. It's premeditated, and on top of that, there's not a lot. I mean, there's nobody between him and the goal. He is a very, very lucky player to get away with that. And in the end of it, I want to know: did they look at VAR? Did VAR check it? Did
well,
they
they
think
look at it constantly. They are constantly reviewing what's going on the pitch. Whether or not they go back and replay it is.
Well, the argument is the rule is it a clear and obvious error? And that's it. And the fact that we are debating it, they'll probably say, well, it's not a clear and obvious error.
I'm not sure we are debating it so much as finding a consensus.
But yeah, I think you're right on that one. The referee, maybe the conversation's been had, and he said, definitely covering defender, I don't need to look at it, I'm happy with that. In terms of the contact, it is a strong contact. I was looking to see if he maybe caught him with the elbow or caught him with the arm. I think he goes to the lead with the arm, and he's really clever, Bondar, and turns his back on it and knows he's then blocking Shea Adams, who's running at full pace. He just stops him right in his tracks, and he's obviously down. So the fact that it didn't seem to take a long time would suggest that they didn't have a look at it, because you're checking two things. Is he the last man? Is the defender getting round? How heavy is the contact? So they must have, just gone with the referee's decision at that time. It's a huge call, because I don't think anybody's getting back. Shea Adams gets through, I don't think anybody's getting back. I don't think he needs to take a touch. I think as soon as he gets onto the ball, he's taking a shot. Therefore, it's a goal-scoring opportunity.
Hugely controversial moment at the end of the first half here at Hampden. Scotland have created chances, but they haven't been able to take them in the first half. Ukraine looking dangerous at the other end. It feels as though there might just be goals in the second half of this one, or potentially have jinxed it. But we will be back here for the second half of Scotland against Ukraine. It's 0-0 at half-time in their Nations League qualifier. There is some breaking rugby union news to bring you as well. Before kick-off, we told you about the ongoing financial problems at Worcester Warriors, but they're not the only Premiership rugby club with serious money worries. Our rugby union reporter Sarah Orchard has joined us. Sarah, the news in the last 45 minutes concerns Wasps.
Yeah, that's right, Kelly. A very good evening to you. And the problems at Worcester have left Wasps' financial woes somewhat flying under the radar. But we had a statement from the club tonight. It confirmed that they have filed a notice of intention to appoint administrators. Now, we already knew that Wasps were in talks with HMRC over an unpaid tax bill, and it's really keen that we stress here Wasps are not in administration, but it appears they have taken these steps, in their own words, to protect its interests and give them more time to secure their long-term future. And they put out this statement that said that the day-to-day operations of the business are currently unaffected, and they'll continue to support their players, staff and supporters. And as you say, this comes on the same day that the Rugby Football Union have already warned Worcester Warriors that they could be suspended of all competitions unless they provide credible funding by next Monday. It really is worrying times.
Very worrying times, and not just, as you say, for those two clubs, but for anyone with an interest in top-flight club rugby union in England.
Yeah, dark days for rugby union is how it really feels at the moment. Clearly the club business models aren't making any money. COVID has further exposed them, and those clubs that don't have rich benefactors, ultimately they can't pay the bills. Worcester, they've never been a household name in rugby union, but Wasps, they're two-time European Cup winners. They're the home of the 2003 World Cup winner Lawrence Dallaglio. So there's no disguising that right now professional rugby union, it really needs leadership and reform. It needs it fast, because there's plenty of rumour that other clubs have similar problems, and they could also be heading the same way as Wasps and Worcester. So I don't think any of this is going to be completed quickly, but it does need help.
Sarah Orchard, thank you very much for joining us. Coming up here on 5 Live Sport, second half commentary of Scotland against Ukraine. That's coming up after the news on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Kelly. Good evening. 5 British prisoners of war captured by the Russians in eastern Ukraine are among 10 detainees who've been released. They include Aidan Aslin, Sean Pinner and John Harding, and are on their way back to the UK. The deal was brokered by Saudi Arabia, which our security correspondent Frank Gardner says was unexpected.
This has come out of nowhere, this surprise news that Saudi Arabia was involved. I mean, it was well known that there were negotiations behind the scenes between representatives of Ukraine and Russia to try and arrange a prisoner swap. And we don't yet know who the Ukrainians have had to give up to Russia or to the Russian-backed separatists in exchange.
President Biden, meanwhile, has urged the world to come together in solidarity to oppose Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Speaking at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Mr. Biden described the war as brutal and needless and accused Russia of going against the main principles that govern the organisation.
Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter. No more important than the clear prohibition against countries taking the territory of their neighbor by force. Again, just today, President Putin has made overt nuclear threats against Europe.
A father who murdered his 19-year-old daughter by running her over twice with his car outside her home near King's Lynn has been told he'll spend a minimum 18 years in prison. The judge at Norwich Crown Court said Nigel Malt used his car as a lethal weapon in an alcohol-fuelled rage when he attacked Lauren Malt. Businesses have largely welcomed the government's plans to fix gas and electricity rates, cutting estimated bills for companies over winter by as much as half. The scheme will start in October and last for 6 months. And New York's State Attorney General has filed a civil suit against Donald Trump and 3 of his children, accusing them of fraud. Prosecutors say the Trump Organization used bogus financial statements to obtain bank loans on favourable terms. Mr. Trump has previously denied wrongdoing.
This is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
Hello and welcome back to 5 Live Sport. Coming up, second half commentary from here at Hampden, where it's Scotland 0, Ukraine 0 in the Nations League. Before we get back to that game though, let's turn our attention to Thursday's Nations League action. It's Wales against Belgium, and you can listen on 5 Live Sport with all the build-up from 7 o'clock. Rob Page's team though without several key players, including Aaron Ramsey, Joe Allen, Ben Davies and Harry Wilson. But captain Gareth Bale has flown over from America to join up with the squad. Bale says he feels in great shape after rediscovering the joy of club football at Los Angeles FC.
It feels nice. The fans have been really supportive of me over there. They've been patient as well, which has been good, and they've made me feel at home straight away. So yeah, family are now settled in over there and everything, which is a big part. It's taken a little while to get everything sorted, but yeah, I'm playing games, training now for the last 10 weeks, and just getting stronger, getting fitter, good kind of vibes, and yeah, hopefully that gives me more confidence going into Wales as well.
Former Wales defender James Collins will be part of our commentary team alongside Alistair Bruce-Ball, and they both join me live from Belgium. So first of all, have you seen many Wales fans, and particularly James, have they spotted you?
I've strategically worn a hat, Kelly, on the Eurostar today. I got away with it for a little bit, but then got a few come up, and then as soon as 1 or 2 saw it, was yeah, I took a few photos, but always nice to be amongst the Welsh fans coming out for such a big game.
There's a lot of them, Kelly. So I was sitting next to one of them in his replica shirt on the train on the way out. I think he told me something like the official allocation's about 2,000, but he thought a lot more were coming out. The Belgian beer is strong, so James and I made a walk from the station to our hotel, and the Welsh fans were already getting stuck in. And we've also experienced a culinary first this evening, Kelly. Get this right. So we're sitting in the restaurant in our hotel, which is a very sort of modern affair. So it's lots of blacks and golds and faux chandeliers and beaded curtains and the like. I ordered a cheeseburger, the first cheeseburger I've ever had with the cheese on the outside of the bun. So the bun is draped in cheese. The cheese was not in the burger, it was outside the burger. So how'd you pick the burger up?
Right, I'm quite interested in this, and we'll have to return to it at a later date, because I do want to talk about the football. I do want, and particularly about Gareth Bale, because that's huge news for Wales, particularly James. He sounds happier, apart from anything else, than he has in ages.
Yeah, he does for sure. Obviously, you know, turning up for Wales, making the journey over for this game. You know, Gaz is saying all the right things, as he always does. It's still worrying me a little bit, Cal, that he hasn't still probably played quite enough football. You know, he hasn't managed to play 90 minutes yet. He's only started 2 games out in LA. Like I say, I know he's getting a bit older now, and sort of his body's, you know, is taking his toll. But, you know, the World Cup's getting closer and closer. He needs to start playing more minutes. He needs 90 minutes under the belt. Sort of thinking that he probably won't play 90 minutes tomorrow night again. So, like I say, he's saying the right things, but I'd like to see more, you know, guys playing more minutes as we lead up to the World Cup, hopefully starting tomorrow night.
And the thing is, Ali, with Wales being in the same group as England at the World Cup, a couple of months away from Qatar, these matches now against Belgium and Poland are important, not just because they're Nations League, but also in terms of World Cup warm-up.
Yeah, no, that is the priority, Kelly. I mean, Wales are in a situation, you know, having qualified for the World Cup in the summer, the Nations League took a bit of a backseat, played 3 games in the group, they've only got a point. They may well get relegated from this group. That could happen tomorrow night if they lose to Belgium and Poland don't lose at home to the Netherlands. But I don't think that really matters at the moment. Obviously, you don't want to get relegated. They've worked hard to get into the top tier of this competition. But it is all about that World Cup, 2 months away. Obviously, Wales haven't been at a World Cup since 1958. They're missing quite a few players for this game against Belgium tomorrow night. So it's just what Rob Page can do in the next couple of games in the build-up to get his squad in the best possible shape they can be for the big one, the World Cup, their first game against the USA on November the 21st.
It is tricky though, James. I mean, we're looking at Scotland against Ukraine here. Both sides have got injuries, which is kind of normal at this stage of the international calendar. But now we have these fixtures that mean something, that have some degree of significance. So what can Rob Page do with this group of players that he has?
As ABB said, Kelly, you know, all for Wales, they're looking forward to the World Cup, looking at the squad. Rob Page will be looking, you know, nobody likes to see players injured and missing out on international caps, but it gives Rob Page a perfect opportunity, you know, to look at players that are possibly, you know, on the borderline of getting into the squad. You know, it's going to be a tough game. Coming to Belgium's always tough. Saying that, Wales have got an excellent record against Belgium in the recent years, but Rob Page, you know, like I said, he knows it's going to be a tough game. He's going to come and assess his squad and sort of play players where, you know, are sort of on the fence of getting into his World Cup squad. And I think that's probably, you know, it sounds bad to say it's an international match, but that's what Rob Page will be looking at from the game tomorrow.
And Ali, just to top and tail this properly, have you got any pictures of this inside-out cheeseburger?
I ate it, Kelly. I ate it with my knife and fork, and I didn't take a picture.
You'll never make an Instagram influencer.
No, I don't think that's really my scene. I'll tell you whose opinion I would be interested in on this, because I know he likes the burgers, Ian Dennis.
Well, Ian Dennis at the moment has currently got his face full of pie, so
I knew he would have. I knew he would have.
Kelly, he did say ABB did say he wondered how to pick it up, but he demolished it in about 3.5 minutes, so he did his best.
Guys,
it would have befuddled Deno.
Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing from you tomorrow night as well. Wales away to Belgium in the Nations League. BBC Radio 5 Live. Build up from 7 on Thursday evening. In other sports headlines, India have beaten England by 88 runs in the second women's ODI at Canterbury this evening. It means India win the 3-match series 2-0, and the teams meet again at Lord's on Saturday. Cricket coverage continues on 5 Sports Extra 10:25 tomorrow morning, day 3 of the penultimate round of county championship matches, then commentary of the second men's T20 international between Pakistan and England from 3:15. Having given Ian Dennis a polite period of time in which to finish his half-time pie, we can ask him the pressing question, which is, Alistair Bruce Ball was given a cheeseburger on which the cheese was melted on top of the bun. So how would the correct way of approaching an inside-out cheeseburger work, Deno, as a connoisseur of the art of cheeseburgers?
I've not had a cheeseburger for many a long time, you know. I'm on a health kick. Those days are gone.
The pie would say differently. With Ian Dennis for commentary of this game.
It was a gift from Robbie.
At Hampden, with the scoreline at Scotland 0, Ukraine 0. James McFadden, Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
Although I will say it was very, very tasty, as I'm sure you two will agree. In fact, James is still eating.
So not finished yet.
As indeed will Kelly, in a moment when she actually has hers macaroni cheese pie.
We're back underway. It's Scotland 0, Ukraine 0. Neither side has made a change at half-time. Oh, there has been a change at half-time. And Stepanenko has gone off. He was on a yellow card, and Sidorchuk, number 5, must have come on to replace him. Sergei Sidorchuk. That's the perils of eating a pie, Pat.
Actually, it was really weird the way he came on, because he didn't have his top off, and then seconds before we were just about to start, he just ran on, like in a very, very odd, unusual way.
So I'll give you the Scotland team, as Craig Gordon is in goal. Aaron Hickey replacing Nathan Patterson, who went off injured in the first half. Jack Hendry, Scott McKenna and Kieran Tierney. That's from right to left. The midfield of Stuart Armstrong, Scott McTominay, John McGinn, Callum McGregor, Ryan Christie and Shea Adams. Now the boos are for every time that Valerie Bondar, the number 2, the central defender, touches the ball, for that impact challenge that he made on Shea Adams towards the end of the first half, as he protects Trubin, the goalkeeper, Karavayev, Bondar, Matvienko and Mikhailichenko as the defence. And then you've got Yarmolenko, Pihalianok, Sidorchuk, Malinovsky and Mudryk on the left, and the lone striker is Dovbyk, who's on the ball now here. Ukraine are all in yellow. They're playing from right to left as we look against Scotland in their navy shirts, white shorts, who therefore are from left to right at the top of B1. Imperative that Scotland don't lose, but ideally 3 points would be really, really nice to put destiny in their own hands. Mikhailichenko chips the ball forward after winning the ball along the ground against Stuart Armstrong, and Jack Hendry plays the ball back towards Gordon, clears it away, back with McTominay, and now towards McKenna inside the D of his own penalty area as Scotland, with McTominay now taking over in that deep lying midfield role, finds Tierney far side, just short of the halfway line. Gentle pace to the start of the second half on BBC Radio 5 Live. McTominay gives the ball away, but it rebounds safely to the feet of McGregor. McGinn once again looking to try and get in between the two central defenders. Foul on Christie, free kick to Scotland 10 yards inside the Ukraine half.
Can I mention very quickly one player we've hardly given a second to, Craig Gordon. He's not had a great deal to do. He was passed the ball back there, which was a stinker of a ball he got back, and he dealt with it with such ease. It was brilliant to see that. It's fantastic to have Craig Gordon in the goal, because we really have relied on him over the years.
Hopefully that's the last he's mentioned, Pat. Hopefully.
Well, he made that good save at the near post when one of the crosses came in, but they've only really threatened in flashes down the left-hand side, have Ukraine. Yarmolenko passes the ball back out to Karavayev. Yarmolenko then scoops the ball back towards Bondar, and now with Matvienko. Matvienko touches the ball to Mikhailichenko, 25 years of age. He's on loan to Shakhtar Donetsk from Anderlecht. Of course, Mikhailichenko in Glasgow, familiar for Rangers supporters from Alexei, for a very successful spell of 5 successive titles that he won in the 90s with Rangers. Don't think there's any relation though with Bogdan, the left back, although he did start out at the Kyiv Academy. But this will suit Ukraine at 0-0, 4 minutes into the second half.
Oh, I'm very happy the way Scotland started the second half. They've not dived into it, but they're not giving Ukraine that many chances just now. And Scotland took a little while to get going in the first half, but slowly but surely I think Scotland shaded it, and maybe even more than shaded it as the game went on in that half. So the same sort of thing, but maybe take 1 or 2 more of those chances in the second half, and that'll please me.
They've not really tested the goalkeeper though. I know he's made a couple of saves, but not ones where you think, well, that's a great save.
Yeah.
So I think that as much as Ukraine haven't had control, they've always looked dangerous. They've always carried that threat. They've always been able to get enough bodies round the ball to stop that shot, or Scotland have picked the wrong option. So yeah, I think they will be happiest. But Scotland, you know, they can come back into it. They just need to try and look like they're testing the goal. Make them make a save. Don't make it easy for them. Make them make a save. Get your shot away. Someone has to step up. Take that responsibility on. Even if it's a shot from distance, it just makes them think, oh, something different here.
Well, they've edged their way forward on that far side, the left. Scotland playing from left to right, and it's Tierney to take it 10 yards up from the corner flag, just wiping a lot of the grease off the ball on what has been a damp night. It's a long looping throw. It bounces into the penalty area and easily claimed by the Donetsk goalkeeper at 6'7", Anatoly Trubin, who's been the first choice for the Shakhtar for the last 2 years after replacing Andrei Piatov. As here is Mudryk, crowded out. McGinn didn't keep the ball in play. Alexander Petrakov, the 65-year-old coach, who I noticed yesterday stood by his comments about being prepared to take up arms against Russia to defend his country, despite for his initial comments when he said that against Scotland back in June. He's received a UEFA fine. He's actually find out how much the punishment is, what that fine will be, as they look for a ball forward towards Dovbyk. Comes out then towards Mudryk, who hits it 6 yards in from the left touchline from Gordon, who raced out of his penalty area. But Mudryk's effort off his right foot was never ever going to test the goal, and it runs out for a goal kick, and it's still 0-0.
It was a bit messy, but I think that they've managed to get it right, because Jack Hendry has to match the run. There's no way he can stop. Craig Gordon feels he has to come out, and it was a bit untidy, but they got the job done in the end. And when it comes back to Mudryk, I don't know if I'm going to say he was going for goal, but I don't know if he was caught in two minds. He had Yarmolenko on the right hand side. In any case, it was, harmlessly past the post. But I think as untidy as it looked, they done well to deal with it.
With strains of Flower of Scotland ringing around Hampden Park, a lot of the supporters have got their flashlights on their phones. A little bit akin to what you'd see in a pop concert, where you look around the amphitheatre on this mild night in Glasgow on 5 Live. Still 0-0 as Matvienko tidies up back towards goalkeeper Trubin. Just the one goal might well be enough for this tight contest, Pat Nevin.
It feels a wee bit like that just now, and it's been quite a tepid start to the second half, hasn't it, in comparison to sort of last parts of the first half. But the team don't want to take any chances just now, but Scotland could really do with getting that attacking midfield trio into the game as much as possible. Well, midfield trio and McGinn as well, who's more than that.
Sidorchuk intercepted by Hickey. Back with Hendry, short diagonal ball to the edge of the centre circle. McGregor able to turn. Over the halfway line he comes and passes the ball out to Kieran Tierney. Tierney far side, stops still, back towards McGregor, his former Celtic teammate of course, now that he's playing at Arsenal. 7 appearances that he's made after what has been an excellent start for the Premier League leaders. As Christie back out to Tierney midway through the Ukraine half. Almost got in the way there, did the Italian referee Mariani. As Ukraine now with Yarmolenko holds on to the ball on that far side up towards Artem Dovbyk, held on to it very, very well over the halfway line, held it up to provide and wait for the support of Yarmolenko, but it's a very, very slow pace. As there once again are the boos and jeers for Bondar as Adams runs towards him. Sidorchuk with his short fair hair back towards Matvienko, and Ukraine go all the way back to Trubin. Bondar's forward ball, the press from Scotland. Trubin, the goalkeeper, sweeps it out towards Matvienko. Forward now to Mikhailichenko, and he's urged to go running forward by the coach Petrakov. And Mikhailichenko, having his shirt pulled by Stuart Armstrong, still manages to get forward almost level with the penalty area. To the blonde-haired Mudryk. Along the ground to Dovbyk, side onto goal. Dovbyk goes down just outside the penalty area. The referee said it was a dive. McTominay with a challenge. He was well positioned, the Italian referee.
Still think he got it wrong. I thought it was a free kick there, and Scotland got lucky there, because from the position it was like 20 yards out. It was wide, right in the corner of the box, but looking at the slow motion replay of it here, a tiny little touch at the bottom of the feet, not a great deal in it.
I'm just looking at it thinking, if the referee's so sure, then why is he not booking him for diving?
Yeah.
So it's just a strange one. I think there is a slight bit of contact. Maybe the referee has spotted that to give him credit and thought, well, there is contact. It's maybe been initiated by Dovbyk, therefore it's not a foul nor a dive. So just when you see things at first glance, you think, why is he not booked him for diving?
McGinn lays it off to McGregor, out towards Tierney, high up the pitch, midway through the left-hand side, back with McGregor once again, short and square to McTominay. Ukraine, with the exception of Dovbyk, have every yellow shirt back behind the ball. McKenna now joins the attack, stepping forward. Here is McTominay. McTominay plays the ball through the middle towards Adams. He's lost out there though to Matvienko, who rather than clearing it turns and goes back to his goalkeeper Trubin. And for a very tall goalkeeper, he actually showed decent footwork. He wasn't phased at all as it was played back to him, didn't panic inside his 6-yard area. But Ukraine have lost the ball once again. 11 minutes into the second half on 5 Live. Still goalless here at Hampden. McGinn out towards Christie. Christie's cross over the head of Adams, headed away by Mikhailichenko. Hickey tries to get there. Mudryk though on his defensive duties. Links up now with Malinovsky. And Mudryk looking for the ball through the middle. Flag stays down. Sliding across was Hendry. Excellent challenge to curb the run. Late flag. He was offside. Free kick to Scotland. Hendry wasn't to know that though.
It was brilliant from Hendry. We could see from here he was offside. But Henry reads it, deals with it, keeps the ball, maintains possession. Scotland can then go in the counter-attack. Referee pulls it back to give the offside. Just let the game flow.
Ukraine have failed to score just once in their last 12 matches. That was against Wales, when we talked earlier about the heroics of Hennessy down in Cardiff in that World Cup playoff encounter in June. Not at full strength, but still they have the talent for Scotland to be watchful. Here is Christie. Pulled to the floor, was he? Still battling away. He's done well. The referee's actually played the advantage to keep the game moving on this occasion. Here is Hickey, the right back, to McTominay, 30 yards out from goal, to McGregor, along the ground. Christie taking it away from the penalty area. Tierney is in support over on that far side, and he finds him. Tierney now delivers the cross, headed out by Bondar. McGregor tried to get a sight of goal, stopped by Sidorchuk. Big frame as a defensive midfielder, and Sidorchuk plays it back. Karavayev under pressure, gives the ball away. Tierney left hand side. Tierney enters the penalty area, back to Stuart Armstrong. Low left footed shot straight at the goalkeeper. Trubin 0-0.
Top class high press. If you go and look up what the high press is, that is a perfect description of real liveliness from that Scottish line there. How high up the pitch is Tierney playing at the moment? He's supposed to be left back. He's decided he wants more than that. He wants to get forward as much as possible. Puts a good cross in. He doesn't catch it absolutely clean as the whistle, does he? But from Armstrong there, that's us getting in a good position. Real confidence.
Yeah, you're right. The press is brilliant. Tierney, when he gets into that area, you can just see from where we're sitting it opening up. Can he find Armstrong? He does. It's a good enough connection, and at least he's testing the goalkeeper.
Here is Adams giving the ball away. Matvienko tries to shuffle it forward. Comes back towards Stuart Armstrong for Scotland. Stands still momentarily on this near right-hand side. Back in field to McGregor. McGregor passes the ball back. McKenna, first-time ball out towards Tierney. 10 yards in from the left touchline. As Scotland play from left to right here on 5 Live as we're approaching the hour mark. Stuart Armstrong, diagonal ball out towards the left corner of the area. Yarmolenko on defensive duties. Didn't happen too many occasions when he was at West Ham. Out of play, it goes for a throw.
Kieran Tierney's played him brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly, because start of the game, Kieran's holding back a little bit, but time after time in the second half, Kieran's just said, no, I'm leaving you. And if Yarmolenko doesn't go with him, he still thinks, I'll give you 10 yards, I'll still catch you, because he's that much quicker than him. Now Yarmolenko realises he has to go with him, and that's beginning to turn a good part of the game in the possession in Scotland's favour.
McGinn, lovely touch, first time to turn, shot was blocked. McTominay battling for it, breaks forward to Stuart Armstrong. Hickey on the inside, McGregor back out to this near side, the right for Stuart Armstrong, to the feet of McTominay, able to turn, edge of the area, back heels the ball, Stuart Armstrong takes it on, and Stuart Armstrong right-footed places the ball over the top. I was about to say to you, James McFadden, you've talked about testing the goalkeeper. Scotland have had 3 opportunities where it's really been straight at Trubin. They haven't had that one golden opportunity. That was it.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. That was it there. It was great play when the ball comes into McTominay. He's looking for the run. Hickey makes it the overlap down the right hand side. McTominay uses him brilliant, just takes a couple of touches. Stuart Armstrong then makes a run, the inside run, just off the back of McTominay, finds him with the back heel. He takes a touch, the space opens up. I'm waiting for him just to smash it across the goal and beyond the goalkeeper, and he balloons it over the bar. It is an unbelievable chance for Scotland. Brilliant football, and falling to a guy who you would want it to fall in. Stuart Armstrong pops up with big goals time and time again, and he just gets it wrong. The encouraging part of that is Scott McTominay in the box, a back heel to Stuart Armstrong, making that run beyond. You've got Hickey on the overlap. Scotland are getting bodies forward, and now can they test the goalkeeper?
Ukraine meanwhile are attacking. The ball though played out by Pihalianuk behind Mudryk, who slips. Stuart Armstrong, Pat, he scored 2 goals against Armenia in June, his first for Scotland since 2019. How he'd have loved to have added another one to his small tally of 4 for his country here.
And it is one of those ones when you get there, it comes to you very quickly. He makes a great run, but he's taken one touch. He's done everything absolutely right, you have one thing in mind: you get it on target, you keep it low. He's a tall goalkeeper. The obvious thing was to go low, at pace, back post, and he just blazed it.
The thing about it as well is it was in the middle. He never picked a side.
Hickey slides the ball in behind for Stuart Armstrong. Armstrong was looking for the run of McGinn. Comes out to Hickey. Hits it first time, left-footed. Takes a deflection behind for a corner kick. Scotland 0, Ukraine 0. And once again they go close.
Turning up the pressure now. Just in that first 5 or 10 minutes there in the second half, just seeing what was going to come from the Ukrainians. Well, not a great deal, not a massive amount, a couple of little bit of a break here and there. But Scotland, I think, slowly but surely in the second half, just as they did in the first half, are beginning to turn the screw.
It was a drilled effort from Hickey. It's a corner kick on this near side, the right for Scotland. McGinn to take it towards the far post. Yarmolenko shoves McTominay out of the way and then shovels the ball clear, and it rolls out of play for a throw over on that far side. 62 minutes played. Steve Clarke talked about we need to regain momentum. They're looking to try and get some momentum here, and they've got it as well. It's with McGinn with the cross. Adams waits off the crossbar, far post header, and eventually it's cleared by Ukraine. Shea Adams was so close, the goalkeeper didn't react. McGinn sends up another across. Adams, the goalkeeper this time, saves it with his legs. Trubin low down on his goal line, and in the space of 45 seconds Adams has 2 bites as Scotland really do test Ukraine.
Well, he does what you're supposed to do with the second one. You get it back across the goal, you head it down, but supposedly with pace. There wasn't enough pace on that second one, but it's a great save. It's also a bit of a lucky save as well. The first one, I think there was a little nick off the defender when he tried to head it, and that's what took it off the crossbar. So there's no complaint there against him that time, but 2 amazing chances there for Scotland. In fact, 3 in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Scotland are really urged on now. Armstrong with a cross, headed out, hit back by McKenna. Malinovsky filling in at the moment as a left back. Mikhailichenko's actually gone on ahead of him. They'll be needing to try and keep their composure here, Ukraine, as the ball is played out by Pihalianok towards that far side, the right for Karavayev. They're going to make a double change as well, is Alexander Petrakov, their 65-year-old coach. If anything, just to try and unsettle the rhythm that Scotland are undoubtedly building. They are getting ahead of steam now.
Yeah, they have to get a freshness, Ukraine. Scotland really turning the screw here, and the 2 opportunities have been asking for it. Can they test the goalkeeper? Can they create that real good opportunity? It's been 2 in a row now, and I think Shea Adams does everything right on both of them. The first one, I think you're right, Pat, gets a nick off the defender and crashes off the bar. The second one, he's trying his best to get as much power as he can onto it. He heads it downwards, and it's a good save for the goalkeeper.
McGinn to Adams. Adams with the back heel. He was looking for the run of Tierney. It was coming in off that left-hand side. In fact, for Christie coming in off the left-hand side, picked up by Trubin. It's going to be a double change made by Petrakov, and it's going to be Sihankov and Yuramchuk. Yuramchuk, who's a striker, Sihankov an attacking midfielder. So a double positive change being made by Petrakov. You would think Dovbyk would be one of the players to go off. We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, Ukraine are attacking. Mikhailichenko to Dovbyk, back to Mikhailichenko. Wouldn't really run for him, and cleared away by McGregor inside the penalty area. It remains Scotland 0, Ukraine 0. 65 minutes played on BBC Radio 5 Live. Mudryk does a little shimmy, darts on the inside of Stuart Armstrong. Stropped, firm challenge by McTominay. Mudryk will come back at him. McTominay clears to Bondar. Matvienko slows things down. Now it's with Malinovsky. Malinovsky runs forward, sees an area of space, just darts into it. Back to Pihalianok. Now with Karavayev, out to the right for Yarmolenko. Dovbyk looking to check his run at the moment. He's up against Hendry. Patient play by Ukraine.
And just that pass from McTominay, that was a golden opportunity for Scotland. He takes a touch, he looks up, Shea Adams sees him, makes the run, he takes another touch, and by that time it's gone, and then he plays it. But it's such a high line that Ukraine are playing that if he plays it right, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just bend it up the line, make it run towards goal. Shea Adams is running in on goal. That is a huge opportunity for Scott McTominay, just to play that into an area and allow Shea Adams to go and get on the end of it.
Scotland will come again. James McFadden and Pat Nevin are with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live at Hampden Park. And we're approaching the midway point of the second half, and as it goes out of play over on that far side, here comes the change. As predicted, Artem Dovbyk scored here in the Euros against Sweden, scored against Scotland in the 3-1 victory back in June, unable to add to his tally as Roman Yaremchuk, who actually also scored here back in June, comes on to replace him. That's like for like. Yaremchuk, and the other change is going to be Andrei Yarmolenko, who's going to be going off, the 32-year-old who's moved within one now of Andrei Shevchenko with his 110th appearance, and Sihankov, who's 24 years of age, he comes on for his 40th appearance. He plays for Dynamo Kyiv, where he's been playing his football since the age of 14. And is talented. 2 goals and 7 appearances for Dynamo Kyiv so far this season, as Yarmolenko acknowledges a warm reception from the Scottish supporters as he makes his way behind that goal. I don't think any Ukrainian footballer who's had the privilege to be part of this set of games, as McGinn takes on into the penalty area, stopped by Bondar, clears the ball away, will forget it. Cross comes in, Armstrong with a downward header, Adams with a cross from the left, and Stuart Armstrong arriving late, 6 yards out, plants his header wide. Another chance for Armstrong goes begging.
He should get on target. He really should. He's got a player in front of him, but the player in front of him doesn't actually make an attempt on the ball. So you just power through that, said the winger who couldn't head the ball. But that's what you do. You power through that and get it on target. You're trying to get a win in a major game here.
He shuts his eyes.
Closes his eyes.
Shuts his eyes. Yeah, says a winger that would be putting that on a plate for someone, Pat, and you'd be saying the exact same thing. Hit the target. He gets up, he sees it early, he gets up early at the very last minute. I think he shuts his eyes and just hopes for the best. Stuart Armstrong's got to be hitting the target there. Scotland should be ahead. They've created by far the better chances in this second half. However, it's been a frustrating night for Steve Clarke. They ended 2021 with 6 wins in succession. He's talked about how it's stalled and they need to try and get things moving again with just 2 wins from their following 6. At the minute, they're just looking for that breakthrough. They've created the opportunities, they haven't been able to take them. Remember, 7 points the equation from these 3 games that are to be played over the next week in the Nations League. A place in a Euro playoff will be guaranteed as a group winner, but not only that, there'd also be pot 2 for the seeds for Euro 2024. Christie to McGinn, goes down outside the area, no foul from Mikhailichenko. The Italian referee had a good view, and it remains with just over 20 minutes remaining, still goalless here on 5 Live. Tomorrow night we're in Brussels. It's Group A4, commentary of Belgium, Wales, and then we're in Milan on Friday for Italy against England. Tierney to Christie. Christie with a cross. Adams, shot blocked. Comes out to Tierney outside the area. Here is McGinn. McGinn scores. Captain Fantastic delivers for Scotland. What a turn that was. What a low unerring shot into the bottom right-hand corner. And Scotland have the breakthrough goal. And it's Scott McGinn who delivers. 1-0. There's only one guy in the Scotland team that can score that goal. It's Sean McGinn. He uses his strength just to back in. It comes from great play down the left-hand side for Kieran Tierney. Great commitment to win the ball back. And when it comes into John McGinn, he just uses his body ever so well. Out-muscles the defender. I think it's Bonda, to the delight of the Scotland support, and rifles it back across goal into the side net with his left foot. Scotland deserve to be in front. They certainly do. They've been excellent this second half.
Long overdue in this second half. Scotland have been brilliant. Last 10 or 15 minutes, they've just turned the screw more and more and more. And that Ukrainian side, they look so ragged just now. They're giving the ball away. They don't have the belief they had in the first half when they were passing the ball. Do you know what? Don't stop now. Absolutely, there's more goals in there for Scotland.
Thoroughly deserved At a raucous Hampden Park, Scotland 1, Ukraine 0. The goal has been coming, and it was with John McGinn that takes his tally of goals to 14 for his country.
Here's an interesting one for you. Do Scotland make changes now? Do you try and tighten it up? You know, do you go to a back five? You ask yourself all those questions as the manager, or do you say we're doing well enough now? If we make changes, make them positive changes.
Yeah, I would stick with that. Positive changes, maybe like for like. Ryan Fraser, someone that can run with the ball. Lyndon Dykes, hold it up, fight. But I don't see any positive in dropping back into a back five and sitting and allowing Ukraine to come and try and get, because don't forget, a draw is a decent result for Ukraine. If you can get a goal, they'd be happier with a draw certainly than Scotland. It keeps it alive for Scotland, but to be able to hold on to this, I think it has to be more of the same.
In the scoring charts, it takes him level with Mo Johnston now in 9th position with his 14th goal. And there's a certain James McFadden who's now within his sights, who sits 7th.
I'll be delighted if he goes above me. He's been a fantastic player for Scotland, and there is certainly more goals in John McGinn, there is no doubt about it. And I can promise you I wasn't looking down at the subs when I mentioned the two players that could come on, but it's those two guys that are coming on.
I think Shea Adams has put such a shift in tonight, and you know, he's held the ball up pretty well in this second half. He's got himself into good positions, but I think he's running on empty air now. He's not much left in there. And by the way, if we're getting good balls into the middle there, you want Lyndon Dykes with his head to be attacking it.
It's amazing though, isn't it? Because if Scotland don't find the breakthrough, and I know it wasn't Shea Adams, but if they don't find the breakthrough, the narrative is well, another striker who didn't score goals. Now we're looking at it saying he's ran the channels, he's been a threat, he's got his 2 chances.
Here is Adams doing very, very well out towards McGinn, the goal scorer, cutting in off the right touchline, cleared away, played then by Malinovsky, Sidorchuk, Ukraine all in yellow. Bondar, who was just rolled off, just the sheer strength of McGinn as he was able to turn to fire that shot away to give Scotland the lead. 16 minutes remain. Adams, I thought he was going to let one go there from about 30 yards out, the way that he was just shaping up. Here is McTominay joining the attack. McTominay goes to ground under the challenge from Malinovsky, back to his feet, barged over by Mikhailchenko. Sidorchuk plays it square, gives it away towards Christie, forward to Adams. Adams takes it away from the sliding Matvienko, tried to pull it back to Christie, and Sidorchuk then broke up the move for Ukraine. But Scotland aren't allowing Ukraine to settle. Here is McGinn from distance, blocked, spins away, out for a corner. Terrific from Scotland.
It's brilliant, and I think Adams had to take the touch, because if he takes the shot, it's getting blocked. He does really well initially to make sure he doesn't take it, that awareness, and then when it's laid back. But Scotland are just penning Ukraine back. They can't get out, they're not comfortable, and it seems to be dropping to a Scotland player in and around the edge of the box. I still would feel a lot more comfortable if Scotland could manage to get another goal.
Ukraine look tired to me. They look very, very tired to me. And they've made those changes just now to try and lift them a little bit. But at this point in time, Scotland are looking the stronger. They're putting them under pressure. They're making them make mistakes. And we're about to bring 2 fresh men on as well.
15 minutes remain of normal time. Ryan Fraser and Lyndon Dykes wait to come on. Scotland, who are leading by a goal to 0. Corner far side the left, take it short. Back it goes then. Hoisted high. McKenna with a header at the far post. Couldn't keep it down over the top. Goal kick to Ukraine from McGinn's delivery on the left. And the players who will be going off: Stuart Armstrong for Ryan Fraser, who irked Steve Clarke somewhat, didn't he, back in November for them games against Moldova and Denmark when he withdrew, and yet then was seen training at Newcastle's training ground after a calf injury. There was a time where it felt that as if he'd fallen a little bit out of favour. And then
that's been kind. It's more than Steve Clarke annoyed.
I'm always kind, Pat.
All the Scotland fans are annoyed with that one, Deno.
And Shea Adams is coming off. He's worked so hard, Shea Adams.
He has, and you know, earlier in the first half I was a bit critical that he couldn't get his touch and his shot away. His 2 chances in the second half I can't criticise him for, because he's in a good position. He does everything you're expecting in terms of with the headers. it just doesn't fall for him. But he's led the line really well, and hopefully it's one of those occasions where Lyndon Dykes gets a tap in from a yard after Shea Adams does all the hard work and running for the 70 odd minutes he was on.
Lyndon Dykes, who's certainly not in form for Queen's Park Rangers, just 1 goal in 22 appearances. But of course, when his goal against the Faroes, he was the first Scottish player since Colin Steen in 1969 to score in 4 consecutive matches. He'll be hoping to try and rediscover that form for his adopted country.
Again, another tired tackle from Mikhailichenko on this occasion there. There was nothing on there, and he just took the Scotland player out, and that's good play by Hickey, who, to be fair, Hickey's hardly put a foot wrong, has he?
Yeah, he's been excellent. He has, you know, we worried not so much in his ability, of course not. It was just the fact he was coming on. Mudryk had that half hour to get his legs going, but he's been absolutely brilliant since coming on, and it shows you the strength that Scotland have in those areas. Not so long ago, we're looking for a right back.
McGinn with the free kick, curls it in, headed out, picked up on that far side by Christie. Clearance from Karavayev, in it comes another cross from the left hand side. Might drop to Tierney, down into the ground, very good save. Goalkeeper saw it late, one-handed, low down towards his right hand side, behind for a corner, 1-0 Scotland.
Long time to wait for it, didn't they? Had to wait for it to come down, had to be concentrated. Didn't catch it clean, but sometimes they're the ones that go in.
No, he didn't. I thought it rolled all the way down his shin there, but he didn't catch it at all. But the goalkeeper has to wait till the last second to see where it goes. There's a little bit of a shin roller, takes a step to his left. Good save in the end.
Corner kick, far side the left, it's an in-swinger. Trubin, the goalkeeper, fists the ball away 8 yards out, lifted high back by Christie. It's going to drop just outside the D. There was Tierney trying to get a swinger with it with his left boot, brought away though by Malinovsky, dark-haired midfielder, the number 8 for Ukraine. And then he's given the ball away to Dykes, just outside the centre circle of the Ukraine half. Hickey. Scotland though so dominant this second half.
That's been a superb display. I mean, I thought Scotland shaded it, or maybe more than shaded in the first half. Second half, miles ahead, much the better team, and they deserve to the 1 goal. I think Scotland deserve to be more than 1 goal ahead.
Dykes with a flick on, gets it back then from McGinn, runs at the heart of the Ukrainian defence, out towards Fraser, delivers the cross on the run right hand side. Christie keeps it alive. Last touch was off Karavayev, behind for a Scotland corner kick with 11 minutes remaining of normal time. It's all Scotland.
Yeah, as he bails him out there, Christie. Ryan Fraser, he's got to be aware that it's Lyndon Dykes that's laid the ball into his path. Take a touch, allow him to get a chance to get into the box. He's got loads of time and space. But Ryan Christie getting in at that back post, keeping it alive. And now another opportunity from this corner, and it has been comfortable, but it's never comfortable at 1-0. Scotland need to get another goal.
Ryan Fraser with the corner kick, left-hand side, clipped in, the header! What an impact that is! It's Lyndon Dykes, the substitute, who's barely been on the field for a matter of minutes, 6 yards out. The 2 substitutes combine, and Scotland's destiny is now in their own hands as they lead Ukraine by 2 goals to 0.
You know, and right at the start, 2 or 3 minutes ago, Scotland did a corner kick, and they played one off the training ground that went to the back post, and they nearly scored from it. That's another one straight off the training ground there, making sure there's space for Dykes to run to that near post, and he flicks it brilliantly. Lovely block in the middle there. That is right off the training ground. He'll be so pleased at that. Oh, no more pleased than everybody in this ground just now, and it's deserved.
Oh, it certainly is, and you're right, Pat. We've got the luxury of getting to see it again. You can just see, I think it's Mikhailichenko who should be on Dykes. He just runs back into an area, and then he goes, oh no, there's nobody here, I've lost my man. Dykes gets up well, just glances it back towards the back post, into the side netting. Not quite a tap in, but Shea Adams done an awful lot of work. Lyndon Dykes comes on and scores within 3 or 4 minutes of being on the pitch.
Did you notice as well that when the corner came in from the left hand side and Dykes with a header at the 6 yards out near side, McGinn ducked to get out of the way.
That's what I said in the build-up there just afterwards. I said, look, you come in, it's off the training ground, the block's the most important part there. You make sure that he can get a clean header. I mean, honestly, the staff will be so delighted with that goal. They love every goal, but when you've worked on it, it helps.
Here is Mudryk. Ukraine now have work to do. 2-0 to Scotland. Zubkov is going to be coming on, but Scotland thoroughly deserve this 2-goal advantage for the way that they played in the second period. Ukraine really haven't offered a great deal at all. Here is Mudryk. He's certainly capable. Falls to the floor as the ball is now with Pihalianok. Another change is going to be made. It's going to be, not only are we going to be seeing Zubkov coming on, but we're going to be seeing Ignatenko as well, who's a midfielder who plays for Bordeaux. The games will come thick and fast. This, remember, is a rearranged match. It was meant to be match day 1 in this Nations League schedule. Little flick inside by Yaramchuk. Christie, though, had tracked the run. Good defensive work from Bournemouth's Ryan Christie. Cleared away. Up towards Dykes. Dykes doing well. Was he impeded on the halfway line? Yes, he was. Sidorchuk will get shown a yellow card.
Well, that's what he's on for. That's exactly what he's brought on for, apart from scoring goals. He's got a player that he has to tie up 2 centre-backs there. He holds it. He was second favourite there. Still won the ball. And then he had 2 other players around him and managed, with 4 yellow shirts around him, still to hold the ball and get a free kick and get a yellow card about. Super play by Dykes.
It's brilliant, but Ryan Christie's free, and I'm screaming, get it to Ryan Christie, he's in, get it to Ryan Christie.
No, you're a harsh critic.
No, there's nothing Lyndon Dykes can do. He has to go and fight and hold off the two defenders. He does brilliantly, and that, you're right, is exactly what he's on for. It's his game all over. Hold it in, fight and scrap, get fouls, take the pressure off, get the team up the pitch, win your flick-ons, which he's done brilliantly since he's come on as well. Fantastic from Lyndon Dykes.
Slight worry there, it was far side there. Kieran Tierney had gone down, but I hope it was his bootlace that was the problem.
Ignatenko has replaced Pihalianok in the midfield. Alexander Zubkov has come on for Mudryk on the left-hand side. That's the double change that has been made by Alexander Petrakov with under 7 minutes remaining of normal time, and Scotland are in the ideal scenario. They're leading Ukraine by 2-0. They're going to go top of Group B1, and then with Ireland to come here at the weekend, followed by a trip to Krakow next week to take on Ukraine in the return match. They know that 4 points from the remaining 2 games would be enough, and that's exactly what they were looking for. Could be the difference between being in pot 3 or pot 2 for a fortnight's time for the seedings for Euro 2024. So not only would Scotland be promoted to the elite level, but the wider picture is you're guaranteed a playoff place, and also pot 2, crucial.
It could be the pots is possibly the most important part. You know, in time, that is something that we will need to get. We're going to get to competitions in the long term. If you're in pot 2, it's much easier to get there.
Kenny McLean is going to be coming on, and also we're going to be seeing Greg Taylor, the Celtic defender. Ryan Christie comes off first of all, gets a lovely ovation for Kenny McLean. Ever present for Norwich in the Championship this season, Kenny McLean, his 26th appearance. And then the other change is going to be Kieran Tierney, and in the absence of Andrew Robertson, Kieran Tierney keep him fresh for the weekend, because he's so important to the Scottish cause.
Yeah, I think as soon as he went down there, whether he was tired of laces or not, the signal would have been straight up, right, get Greg Taylor on, make sure he's okay. But yeah, listen, Kieran Tierney, whether Robertson's playing or not, if it's left centre back of a 3, if it's left back, whenever he is playing, he is a massive player for Scotland. He's been excellent again tonight, none more so than, you know, his endeavour for the second goal. John McGinn's goal. He's been fantastic, and no surprise of taking him off, not take any chances with him.
Free kick to Scotland, who lead 2-0. McGinn to take it. He slips after taking it, flicks on, and actually flicked behind for a corner kick. 4 minutes remain. Scotland 2, Ukraine 0.
I just love the fact that Scotland have not taken the foot off the gas at any point in this second half. They've not sat back and thought, right, we've got this, let's just keep what we've got. They've kept on pushing on. You feel the weakness sometimes when you're playing against a team that are tired, that you've got the beating of them and you want to get the best out of them. That's exactly what we've done, and what a boost of confidence this for the next 2 games, the next couple of days.
86 minutes played. Corner kick, far side, the left. Dykes again, same combination. Fraser with a corner, another header from Lyndon Dykes. The goalkeeper didn't even move. He's doubled his tally and increased Scotland's advantage. And Scotland now have secured the 3 points. Scotland 3, Ukraine 0 as they go to the top of Group B1.
What a magnificent header it is from Lyndon Dykes. He gets up so early, he's strong, keeps his eye on the ball, and the power to put that again into the side netting, incredible. He just finds himself all alone, gets a free run at it. Great header from Lyndon Dykes. And listen, this result does not flatter Scotland at all. They'll be absolutely magnificent this second half.
You know, he gets the ball. He scored in exactly the same position, right? He's got in front of the defenders, headed it to the back post. On both occasions, there's not been a man in the back post. Are they ever going to learn?
I know it's a pet hate of mine. they don't put guys in the back post anymore.
I'm not. It's not a pet hate at this precise moment in time, but it generally is.
Yeah, not tonight, but you're right, Pat. In general,
he climbs so high, though, didn't he? But also, what you said, Pat. Scotland haven't stopped, and even now, leading 3-0, pressing Ukraine back, they win yet another corner on that left-hand side.
There's been a real bravery about this, you know, and I think there was a feeling after 10 minutes of the second half. I think they looked in the eyes of their opponents and thought, "You're knackered, you're tired, you're gone. We've got this." Sometimes you can feel it in a game, and I just looked at every Scotland player, and we just looked fitter and stronger and just wanted it more.
An air of anticipation for that corner swept in, this time punched away around chest height by Trubin, the goalkeeper. They've played it back to Fraser, cuts inside off that left touch line to the edge of the area, and he shoots, and it's just wide. I think Trubin had it covered as he made a low save down towards his right at the near post, but Scotland looking to cut loose here, 3-0.
Yeah, they're enjoying it, aren't they? And we spoke about, you know, at 1-0, what type of changes would Steve Clarke make, and he's made positive ones. Obviously, Lyndon Dykes coming off the bench and getting his 2 goals. Ryan Fraser coming on, attacking, positive substitutes, and that's not something that people maybe expect from Steve Clarke. They certainly haven't in his tenure as manager, because they see him as being more defensive, but he's shown that he can be brave as well, because it is a big decision to go and make attacking changes. It's been excellent tonight, it's worked for him, and it just sets the team up now and gives them that confidence. The question marks before the game about the hangover from the summer, gone, totally gone.
One other thing to say, Ian, just now, the reason why you keep going for it here, you've got Ukraine again in a week's time. You want to give them something to think about. You are welding here in every department. You'll be thinking about that come the game in Poland next week.
Yeah. The thing is, the beauty of this scoreline now is that Scotland be able to dictate it, beat Ireland at the weekend. Scotland travel to Krakow next week, where a point will do.
Yeah.
That was the importance of getting the 3 points here.
I think Scotland know now. You go to Ukraine, go to Poland to play Ukraine and beat them, you've won the group.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as that, but it is.
Here is Hickey on this near side. Scotland now will have won 6 and drawn 1 of their 7 games at home in the Nations League. That's the same with Germany and Italy, who are the only other sides who've played more, or the same now, without losing. So they're up there with esteemed company. Should they, of course, get promotion, they may well play one of them in the next round of games in the next schedule for the Nations League. 3 minutes of added on time, a minimum of 3, to mark the 3 goals that Scotland have scored in this second half. 3 goals in a 17-minute period. McGinn's turn and effort set them on their way after 70 minutes, and then that double substitution, Fraser and Dykes combining with corners on the left. 2 headers for Lyndon Dykes to take his tally to 8 in 23 appearances for Scotland. Hampden Park is a happy place this Wednesday night, as Scotland regaining momentum that Steve Clarke had talked about against a Ukraine side that is only going to suffer their 2nd defeat under Alexander Petrakov in his 13 games in charge.
And it is a serious defeat, you know, it's a big old defeat, and You know, looking back at the games that Scotland have had, you know, since Stevie Clarke has taken over, this is up there. This is absolutely up there with the best performances, and it's against a very good team. Yes, there's been a number of players missing, but this is still a very good
Scotland
side.
had players missing as well, Pat.
Exactly, Robertson, you know.
And they've been able to deal with it. And, you know, you're looking for a bit more in the first half. The response has been excellent. It really has. Their ability to go and put Ukraine under pressure. We lauded them for how good a football team they were technically in the summer. They've been forced into making mistake after mistake, giving the ball away cheaply because Scotland are putting them under so much pressure. I agree with you. I think it's been a top performance from Scotland.
Well, it'll be a first defeat in the Nations League for Ukraine, who've had to deal with the adversity and the heartache for the apparent reasons as we enter 210 days of the Russian invasion and the war going on in their homeland. And Yarmolenko talked about it, saying that they still want to provide as much joy as they possibly can for the Ukrainian people back home. But this is a 3-0 defeat, and it will certainly set up a climax in Krakow for that neutral venue next Tuesday, a game you'll be able to listen to on BBC Radio 5 Live, the culmination of the Nations League campaign. But we're added on time here at Hampden. Scotland 3, Ukraine 0, and the margin of victory could easily have been far greater with the chances that Scotland have created in this second period. You think of that chance that Stuart Armstrong squandered, in fact the two chances that he squandered, as the ball is played forward by Sidorchuk to Yaramchuk, back to Sidorchuk forward of the centre circle, scoops it up towards Zubkov and away from him. But they've hardly troubled Gordon at all, second half in particular.
I mean, hardly get into Scotland's half in the second half. I mean, Scotland have had to play at a very high tempo for the entire game. A number of players have been tired, but they don't care now.
There is the full-time whistle. Thoroughly deserved victory for Scotland, and a valuable 3 points that takes them above Ukraine and to the top of Group B1 in the Nations League. And Steve Clarke now knows that 4 points from their remaining 2 matches, and not only then will they be looking at promotion, they'll be looking at a guaranteed playoff spot for the Euros and a place among pot 2 in the seedings for Euro 2024. That was the context of the wider picture, but they created so many chances second half, thoroughly deserved it, but McGinn set them on their way with an excellent turn and shot after 70 minutes. And then off the bench, the 2 substitutes, Fraser with his 2 corners from the left, 2 headers from Lyndon Dykes after 80 and 87 minutes. Thoroughly deserved. Scotland 3, Ukraine 0. Kelly.
Ian Dennis.